Hello, I'm ai.spatacoli, and this is another Spatacoli thing. So far, we've built quite the Kubernetes cluster. We've got Git and Grafana, as well as Prometheus running on it. We've got Ingress controller, and we've got SSL certs. Let's do something fun this week with it, and let's add in Open WebUI, pointing to another computer running a RTX 4090 with Ollama running on it so that we can run some inference engines. So stick around and watch as we add in Ollama into our Kubernetes cluster. We want to test to make sure that we can access our Ollama server from the cluster, but since Talos doesn't allow SSH, we need to spin up a temporary pod to test from inside the cluster network. So we do that, we do a curl images/curl, and that will test from inside the pod whether it can reach 10.51.50.13:11434. This will also show all the models that I have available, and as you can see, I have quite a few available. Next, we want to create the namespace, and we're going to create a namespace called AI, and we have to create an external service that we're going to call Ollama in this namespace, and its spec is to port 11434, both internal and external. This Ollama service will point to an endpoint which is at 10.51.50.13, and as you can see, we can just apply this and it will run just like normal. The Open WebUI deployment is quite large because we have quite a few specs in here. So we've got the spec for the Open WebUI, and it points to an Ollama base URL of Ollama:11434, and that is pointing to our server that contains Ollama. Next, we have a persistent volume and a persistent volume claim, and that's so that we can store content on a disk that's survives multiple reboots. Once we've got all that written out in a YAML file, we want to apply it with kubectl apply-f, and we spin up the service. Finally, we want to expose this via Traefik and cert-manager, so we create an Open WebUI ingress YAML file that includes all of our spec for ai.spatacoli.xyz. And then we do the kubectl apply-f here as well, and it will set up our host for us. Open WebUI does a fair amount of first boot initialization, setting up its SQL database on the NFS volume, loading config, etc. Without a readiness probe, Kubernetes marks the pod as ready immediately and Traefik starts routing traffic to it, resulting in a bad gateway until the app finishes starting up. The probe above hits Open WebUI's health endpoint and waits up to 90 seconds before marking it as ready. Traefik will not route traffic until a probe passes. Once it's ready, we're ready to test the server, and here you can see that it came up. We get started and we can create a user account. The first user account is the admin user, so you just need to make sure that you remember the email and password that you create here. And once we're in, and we can see what's new in Open WebUI, okay, let's go. We can see that our model Qwen 3.5 27 billion is ready to be run, and I just give it a quick "what is Ollama?" question just to make sure everything works. It takes a minute for it to gather or to load up the Qwen 3.5 billion model, 27 billion model into memory, thinks for a second, and then it starts spitting out an answer of what is Ollama. So there you have it. We connected to our Ollama server running on another computer. We added in Open WebUI, and in order to add in Open WebUI, we had to create a persistent volume and a persistent volume claim, just like we did in video 2. Then we added an ingress controller, just like we did in video 6 and video 5, and we got it all running on SSL, just like we did in the last video. So what'd you think? Was that something pretty easy that you would run on your home lab? Let me know. Sound off down in the comments, and while you're down there, please subscribe and click the ring the bell button so that you're notified when additional videos come out. Let me know if there's anything that you'd like to see while you're down there in the comments. Thanks for watching and have a great day. Bye.